Financial intelligence isn't about knowing more, it's about thinking differently. Here's what the research actually shows. Most people assume the financially intelligent person is the one who reads every book, tracks every expense, knows every investment term. But when researchers actually study people who build and keep wealth consistently, they find something completely different. The thing that separates them isn't knowledge, it's wiring. And here's what's interesting. You might already have more of it than you think. Let's start with what financial intelligence actually looks like in the brain. In the 1960s, a psychologist at Stanford ran what became one of the most famous experiments in behavioral science. He sat children in a room, placed a single marshmallow in front of them and made them an offer. Wait 15 minutes without eating it, and you'll get two. Some children waited, most didn't, but the ones who waited, when researchers tracked them decades later, they had higher incomes, lower debt levels, and significantly more financial stability. Not because they were smarter, because their brains had a different relationship with time. Delayed gratification isn't a personality trait, it's a neural pathway, and it can be strengthened. The financially intelligent person isn't resisting temptation through willpower. Their brain has simply learned to make the future feel as real as the present. When they think about spending money today, the cost to their future self registers emotionally, not just intellectually. That's the difference. Most people know they should save. The financially intelligent person feels why they should. Now here's where it gets counterintuitive. You might assume that people with high financial intelligence are more cautious about risk, more conservative, more afraid of losing money, but the research shows the opposite. They don't take less risk, they perceive risk differently. The average person evaluates financial risk emotionally. A potential loss of $500 feels catastrophic, even when the actual probability of that loss is very low. A potential gain of $5,000 feels abstract, even when it's likely. This is called loss aversion, and behavioral economists have found that for most people, the pain of losing $1 is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining one. Financially intelligent people experience loss aversion too. They're human, but they've developed the capacity to separate how something feels from what it actually is. They can look at a risk and ask, what are the real numbers here? Not what does my gut tell me? That's not coldness, that's a skill. Which brings us to emotional detachment, and this is the part most people misunderstand. When we say emotionally detached from money decisions, we don't mean they don't care. We mean their emotions don't vote. They feel the pull of an impulse purchase. They feel the anxiety of a market dip. They feel the excitement of a new opportunity, but they've learned to pause between the feeling and the action. That pause is everything. Research in neuroeconomics shows that financial decisions made in a high emotional state are almost always worse than decisions made after even a brief period of calm. The financially intelligent person has internalized this. They've built what psychologists call an implementation intention, a pre-committed response to emotional triggers. Not I will resist impulse purchases, but when I feel the urge to spend, I will wait 24 hours first. The decision is made before the emotion arrives. The emotion never gets to vote. And then there's pattern recognition. This is perhaps the most underrated quality of financial intelligence. The financially intelligent person has trained themselves to see through the surface story of a financial decision and identify the underlying pattern. They've seen lifestyle creep before, so they recognize it when their own spending starts to drift upward with their income. They've seen the psychology of a hot investment tip before, so they feel the pull but don't act on it. They've seen what financial anxiety does to decision-making before, so when they feel it, they don't make moves. They're not predicting the future. They're pattern matching the present against everything they've observed. And that pattern library grows every time they make a decision, observe the outcome, and update their model. Here's the reframe I want to leave you with. Financial intelligence is not a fixed trait you either have or don't have. It's a set of neurological habits, habits around time perception, habits around risk evaluation, habits around the relationship between feeling and action, habits built from repeated observation and deliberate adjustment. Every person you know who seems naturally good with money was not born that way. They built those pathways, through experience, through failure, through watching what actually happens versus what they expected to happen. The brain that got you here is not the brain you're stuck with. Subscribe for more.